Shalom, brothers and sisters. I do not even know where to start. I am just so overjoyed right now at the Father. So let me backtrack just a little bit for those of you who may be listening to this testimony for the first time. If this is your first time visiting the channel, Shalom and welcome. Greetings in the name of our Father Yah, who is head over all, and our Master Yahusha Messiah, the only begotten Son of Yah. Welcome. So let me begin, because I am so. A year and 4 months ago, the Father Yah removed me from my position as a reading specialist, and it was intentionally done so because he was embarking me on my wilderness journey to learn how to trust him, to literally go through Psalms 23 of the Good Shepherd, leading me to green pastures, and so that I don't have to make this testimony long, but I want to give my Father Yah the glory that he deserves. And so when I was removed from my position, I had no way of providing for myself, my son, and the Father Yah has been so graciously sustaining me throughout this entire year and 4 months. He has been moving in the hearts of his servants, where this entire time, I would say the first, I would say maybe 8 months, I had some money that I was blessed with, and I was able to maintain for a moment. But then pretty much for a year after that, leading up until now, I have been depending on those in the body to support me. And it took me a minute to realize what I was going through, because I was applying for job after job after job, position after position. I mean, I have 4 college degrees, 2 masters in education, and I went from making a high figure, paying position to not making anything at all. And so I'm applying, and I'm telling you, I have applied for over the past year and 4 months, probably hundreds of positions, and the door is closed. And it took me a while to realize that this was my season where he is pastoring me. And not only myself, I've been seeing many other brethren in the faith where the Father Yah is telling them to leave their jobs. I'm talking about husband and wives who are saying the same thing. The Father Yah told them to quit their jobs, to leave their jobs. And then when they didn't do it, he just removed them. And he's looking for more laborers. I have already been laboring for many, many years doing this, but there's the lessons that he has been pouring into me, I would not have the time for a lot of the things that he wanted me to do, because he wanted me to be available, and he is teaching me how to trust. I'm learning and growing in the fruit of the Spirit of patience, which is also long suffering, and partaking in the suffering of Yahusha. And so, having said that, been applying, and I have gotten turned down every day for a year and 4 months. Every day, I'm like, it's looking for a position has become like a literally like an 8-hour day job. That's how much time I put in to applying and looking, and just rejection after rejection, crying out to the Father. And it took me a moment to realize what was going on. Long story short, I paid my car off last summer in August. $10,000. I paid my car off, and so that I would not have a car note. And lo and behold, and this was right after, because I had just lost my job July 28th, and I paid, and the money came not long after that, and I was able to pay my car off. Long story short, my car there's something wrong with the catalytic converter. I'm not a mechanic, so if I get things wrong, forgive me, but the catalytic converter had went out. I hear this loud noise. I'm driving, and I'm thinking, whose car is that? I'm thinking somebody's car is loud. They need to get that fixed. And I keep driving. I'm like, that's my car. That's what I'm thinking. It's me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I was afraid because I didn't know what it was. It was so loud. Pulled over, called my best friend Prina. She came and listened and everything. And then a neighbor that lives in my community was able to tell me what it was. I called my dealer. I have a GM. Called the dealer. And he listened, and he told me what it sounded. He said, oh, that sounds like your catalytic converter. And I said, that's the same thing that my neighbor said. And so he looked up the parts and told me how much it was going to cost. And he said, if it's the latter, where you're only missing the front, it's going to be between $850 to $1,000. He said, but if it's both, or if it's more, it could be more than that. And so I said, okay. So that gave me an estimate of, I'm thinking, okay, I need $1,000 at least to get my car fixed. I've been riding like on my car like this for, since, that may have happened in August, maybe since August. So for those of you who don't know, if you don't have your catalytic converter, your muffler, that means that you have toxic air coming in your car, so you can't turn on your air. It's been cold here in Michigan, freezing temperatures. I felt traumatized driving in the car because you have to drive with all your windows down so that you're not breathing in the toxic air. When it's raining, I'm getting wet. It snowed here on Monday, and that's when I finally just had almost crying out to the Father. And I said, this is too much for me to bear. And I cried out, because I had been crying out the entire time. And I just started calling on his name, his promises, what he said he would do for his people, and his sovereignty, just crying out and praying to the Father. Because that morning on Monday of last week, we had like 1 inch of snow, and it wasn't so much that it was snowing, but the roads were slippery. Ice was on all 4 of my windows, and I could not defrost it because I can't turn the air on. Those fumes are toxic. You cannot breathe them. You'll be in the hospital. So I tried to use my chipper, scraper to scrape. It was broken. I did not know it was broken, and I barely could use a brush to get just enough for me to drive my son to school. Thank goodness his school is only 5 minutes away from where we live, and I was able to get him to school. Long story short, I just was in tears driving all the way home. I didn't want to cry while I was in the car with him, but I'm crying all the way home, and I'm crying to the Father, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I'm like, Father Yah, I'm your daughter. I'm your child. I started calling out his word and his promises and what he said he would do. And I said, you're pastoring me. I said, you are the air that I breathe. I said, I cannot breathe. I cannot be in this car. This is not safe. I just started crying out to the Father Yah. And that was on Monday, which was December the 27th, 2023, on Monday of this week. Oh, no, Monday of last week. I'm sorry. The Father Yah answered me. The week before, he had sent me to, I believe it's Psalms chapter 6. If not, just look on the screen. You should see I have the correct scripture. He sent me there. And when I went to read it, because I was in my quiet time, and when I went to read it, and it says that Yah has answered, Yah has heard, and he has answered your prayers. But he had said this prior to me crying out that he had answered my prayers. So sometimes when we're asking the Father Yah to do something, even like I think it was Daniel was praying, and it took 21 days before the angel could get to him because he was being withheld. And so sometimes when Yah has said he's answered your prayers, that doesn't mean it's going to happen immediately. And so I'm thinking, well, he said he was going to answer my prayers. I'm still going through. And so, but I said, I'm standing on what he said. You said you have answered my prayers. So I cried out to him after I could barely see how to drive my son to work. That was on Monday the 27th, December 27th, Monday of last week. On Tuesday, a sister in the faith, someone who watches our channel, reached out to me in the email. This dear sister reached out to me before, but I was stuck in my pride. And she wanted to bless me, and I was in my pride. And I told her I didn't need it and I was okay, but that was not true. So I apologize for that because I was in my pride. I did need it, but I just told her no thank you. So she reached out to me again on Tuesday. This is the day after I cried out to the Father Yah on Monday the 27th. On Tuesday of last week, the 28th, the very next day, this sister reaches out to me and said, I reached out to you before. She said, I want to bless you. I want to give you some money. And I said, okay. She wanted to sow into the ministry. At this time, I said, okay, because I need it. I thought she was going to give me like 10, 15, 50, 100. I had no idea this lady was going to send me. This sister sent me $500. I could not believe that someone that does not know me sent that much. She said, you are worth every bit of it because you've been ministering to us. And so I was so grateful that she sent this money. And so she sent it to our PayPal, Daughter of Yah PayPal account. And I said, I'm going to hold on to this. I said, I'm halfway there. And I was talking with another dear sister of mine, and I was telling her, how this dear sis blessed me or whatever. And lo and behold, that same day, which was on 3 days later, because the first sister blessed me on Tuesday. I cried out to Yah on Monday. On Tuesday, Yah answered my prayers, and this sister sent me $500 on Tuesday the 28th. 3 days later, and 3 is significant in the Bible. Yahusha died and rose after 3 days. 3 days later, Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days. 3 days later, after the first sister blessed me with $500, another sister in the faith blesses me with the additional $500 that I needed to get my car fixed. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. And she said, this sister who blessed me on Friday, on December 1st, told me that she was released by Yah to give me this money. She was holding on to it, and she had prayed to the Father and said to let her know by December what to do with this money. And the Father Yah revealed this to her, and she sent me this money, and I had the $1,000 that I needed to get my car. So I called the dealer on Friday, scheduled an appointment with the GM dealer near my home to have my car fixed. And this was someone who normally will make sure that he's giving me discounts, and really, if not, like sometimes when a lot of dealers see women coming, they try to take advantage of them and hike up the prices. This is not the case with this gentleman. He's a believer in the faith, And so he was trying to give me the best deal. So he gave me a price of $850 to $1,000 to get the car fixed. But he, figured it would be more likely the $1,000. I said, okay. But I called him up because I called him before months ago, but I couldn't get my car fixed. I didn't have the money. And so I called him up on Friday and said, I finally got the money, scheduled an appointment to come today. Today is Monday, December 4th, 2023. You're listening to this on the day that Yah, that I visited the dealer. So this morning, Monday, December the 4th, 2023 at 8:15, I arrived for my appointment at the GM dealer out here where I live. And he took, my car, and he said, you can wait in a waiting room for a moment, and I'm going to have a shuttle take you back to the house. And I said, well, how long is it going to be? He said, give me about an hour or two. I said, okay. So the shuttle guy came, took me home, dropped me off, and then I would say like around 11-ish, I get the phone call, and he didn't sound good on the phone. And I said, oh my goodness. And I'm thinking, what's going on? I said, you don't sound good. And he said, yeah. He said, it's much worse than I thought it was going to be. And I said, wow. And he said, yeah. He said, it's not going to be the $1,000. He said, he said, it's gotten worse. He said, it's not only your catalytic converter, but now your muffler needs to be replaced. That's going to be an extra $1,700 plus labor. He said the total is now going to be $3,000. So instead of it being the $1,000, the $1,000 that I have, it's going to be $3,000. Now, mind you, let me back up a little bit. Prior to this gentleman, the auto mechanic calling me back at 11 something. When I got back to the house like around 9:15. From the shuttle dropping me off. I began to go into worship and praising the Father, praying to the Father, praying concerning this, asking and praying for favor. I called my two sisters, and I had them. I said, look, I need y'all praying for me. I'm going in today. Pray that the Father Yah show me mercy, that it doesn't cost more than the $1,000. And I said, pray for the Father Yah to open the door. And my dear sisters have been praying, and she said, I'm going to pray that you will have enough for whatever is going on with your car. And so I just was in prayer, and I began to praise the Father. So when I got back, while they're checking on my car, now mind you, I still don't know that it's going to be more. I'm in the midst of praising and worshiping the Father and lifting up my hands and giving him thanks and just thanking him as if it's already done. Thanking him for his faithfulness and thanking him for showing favor and his goodness. I would think I was praising to Waymaker, the song Waymaker. Many of you, if you're aware of that song. And I just began to just worship and praise and just prayer and began to read the word of Yah. That's what I did. I didn't spend the time worrying and what they were going to say. But so the phone rang, I ran to the phone and I got the bad news. And when he told me it was going to be $3,000, it was worse. And I said, wow. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to have to come and get my car because I don't have the money. He said, I'll have the shuttle, come and pick up the car, and, come and pick you up so that you can come back to the dealer and get the car. I said, okay. Hung the phone up, and I said, you know what? I am not going to cry. I said, I don't even have the tears right now to cry. And I said, Father Yah, you said you answer my prayers. I said, and I began to text my sisters, and I began to text them all and let them know what happened, and let them know that I wasn't going to be able to get my car fixed, that they told me it was going to be much more money than I have. And I said, I'm just going to have to wait on Yah. And that's what I said. I'm just going to have to wait. I'll hold on to the $1,000 and I will just wait on Yah. And so the shuttle guy gets here. I'm getting close to the end of the story. The shuttle guy, he gets here to my home to pick me up. And when he gets here, he says, I'm like kind of solemn now, but he said, I have to pick up one more person before I pick before I drop you back off at the dealer. And I'm thinking, great. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. I didn't give that outward appearance, but in my mind, I'm thinking, great. Now I gotta ride in the car while he go and pick up somebody else. At this point, I'm like, I just wanted to just go get my car and come back home. That's where I was. I didn't feel like going to drive to go pick up somebody else, but I just sat there. And so the guy's talking to me in the car or whatever, and the gentleman, he gets in the car. Now where the shuttle guy took me wasn't far. It was like maybe 2 or 3 minutes from where I'm at, but it was a little bit further up in the opposite direction of the dealership. Okay, so the guy gets in the car, the second passenger gets in the car, and then we're headed to the dealership. Same street the dealership will be on, but I'm a little bit further up because we had to go get this second passenger. So I'm telling the guy in the shuttle man in the car my situation. I'm telling him what happened and how, I'm not going to be able to get my car fixed today. I said, because it's worse than, the mechanic said he thought that it was going to be. And it's like 3 times as much as he said it was going to be. And I said, okay. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. And I said, yeah. And he told me my muffler, needed to be replaced. He said, you might want to try. He told me go to Midas and go to some other places, to kind of see if you can. And the dealer did tell me, he said, go to, I suggest that you go and get a muffler and get your muffler replaced, and then come back to the dealer and we'll put the Cadillac converter for $2,000, so that way it won't be as much. And I said, okay, I'll try to go and do that. So I'm telling the shuttle driver all of this, and he's telling me, suggesting that I go to Midas out here where I live. So as we're driving, I see this muffler place that's up in this like complex, where they have like different stores and, different businesses. And I see this muffler places in here. And the shuttle guy's like, you might want to go in there. He said, you might want to try them. I said, yeah. He said, there's a muffler place there. And I said, yeah. He said, you might want to try them on the way back. I said, you know what? Once you drive me back off at the dealer, I will drive back this way to, see what they're going to say. So I pick up my car and I drive back. I had to drive up and down the street that it sits on 2 or 3 times because I kept missing it and I didn't see it. And I finally found it. And I pull up in. And now as I'm pulling up in the driveway, now this is a complex that have other businesses besides this muffler shop. I pull up in. I make a left into the driveway and pull up in. And as soon as I pull in, this man they had their, because it's cold here in Michigan, so they had the gate pulled down, but it was clear so you could see through. And he's waving at me and telling like to come in. He's ushering me like, come on in. And I'm like, okay, you want me to come in? I'm thinking, now I'm like, I don't know what made him think that I was coming there, because I could have been going to any of their businesses, but he's ushering me in and like, come on in, as if he was ushering me to come in and waving at me to come in, as if he knew. It was as if he was waiting on me to come. It was so weird. And then he comes out. Now, mind you, if those of you who don't know, if you don't have a Cadillac converter, your car is loud. When I say loud, people can hear you a block away. Mind you, that with the toxic air. So I have felt like I have been traumatized since August, embarrassed. And I have a very nice vehicle, truck, but when that Cadillac converter is there in my, it's a whole different story. But long story short, the man comes out and he is greeting me with such loving kindness. And he's coming out and he said, you know, what's going on? And I'm telling him about it and I'm showing him the paperwork. He said, you know what? He said, it might not be your muffler. He said, we have special tests that we run here. Sometimes when the Cadillac converter, he was saying something that when it's something going on with that, that can actually, you know, damage the muffler or make it appear as if it's the muffler when it's not. He said, come on in and let us service you. He said, I can get this fixed for you today. He asked me what this was and I told him what I had and everything. And he said, I have the parts for that. He said, I can get this fixed and have you out of here today. And I said, well, how much is it going to cost? And then he said, well, for what you got going on you, he said, it's very, very expensive. He said, it could be like $1,800. I was like, oh. And I just kind of sighed. And I said, I don't have that. I said, that's the reason why, I think he said around $1,800. I said, that's the same price. Yeah, he said $1,800. And I said, that's the same price of what the dealer was saying, $2,000 if I get my muffler fixed. I said, I don't want you to fix the Cadillac converter. I said, can you just fix my muffler? I said, fix my muffler, because I had called another place and they had said $256 for the muffler, and they said you can come in first thing in the morning and we'll do it out the door for parts, labor, and everything. $256. I said, okay. So I had planned on going there, but for whatever reason, when that shuttle guy said go back there, I felt led in the ruach to go back to this place that we passed by. So when I told the man that I was going somewhere else tomorrow, he said, you know what? He said, how much do you have? Because I said, I don't have $1,700. I said, no, I don't have $1,800. I said, that's the reason why, I had to come and pick my truck back up and couldn't get it fixed because I only have, he said, well, how much do you have? And I said, I only have $1,000. He said, so you mean to tell me that he said, you only have $1,000? He said, and if I fix your Cadillac converter and the muffler, he said, you telling me you'll just, that's you, all you have is $1,000, you'll give to, I said, yes. He said, come on in. He said, I'm going to fix your car right now. I said, well, I got to pick up my son from school at 2:45. He said, I will have you out of here in an hour. I said, what? He said, I will fix your Cadillac converter and your muffler for $1,000. He asked me how much I had. He said, I will fix it for that. What I'm telling you, what's wrong with my car? Every other place, it was going to be $3,000 to get both of these things fixed. This man said, I will fix both for $1,000. I said, I'm telling you, I was at a loss for words. I was at a loss for words. I'm still shocked right now as I'm telling you this story, and I know this story seems like it's all over the place. Please forgive me, because I'm still shocked. I'm still stunned. I'm still in awe of what Yah has done. And I said, you're going to fix both for $1,000? He said, yes, come on in. He said, pull your car in. And he said, you can go wait in the waiting room. And I said, I said, God bless you, because he didn't know who Yah was. I said, God bless you. And he said, this was what I pray. He said, you pray? He said, I pray every morning. He said, I pray too. And he said, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you. And I said, thank you so much. When I tell you, this man was so sweet, so nice. He came out and he said, I had my mechanic stop working on another car. He was working on another car. He said, I told him to stop working on that car and to begin working on your car right now so you can be out of here in 1 hour and have time to go pick up your son from school. And I said, hallelujah. I said, praise Yah. I said, thank you so much, sir. I said, God bless you. I said, thank you so much. He said, no, God bless you. He said, you bless. He said, you're just as much as a blessing to us as we are to you. He said, don't think that we're just blessing you. He said, you're blessing us. He said, because you're giving us business. He said, we're living in some hard times right now. And he said, anybody who has a business, if people are catering your business, you need to be appreciative of it. He said, because it can stop at any moment. He said, it's hard to get business right now. He said, so you are a blessing to us just as much. He said, we need you just as much as you need us. And he said, well, can you give us a review? So he sent me he showed me the website where to go to, and I gave them a wonderful review. And the mechanic came in. He said, I want to introduce you to my mechanic. And he told the mechanic, he said, tell him your story. So I told him the story. I told this man my testimony. I was able to tell him how I lost my job, how the Father Yah has been pastoring me. And I said, you are my answered prayer. I said, I prayed, and I told him the testimony of how the Father Yah blessed me with the first 500 on Tuesday of last week. And then the second 500 on Friday, December 1st, to give me this $1,000. I said, I don't have a job. I said, I have 4 college degrees, 2 master's degrees. And I said, I don't have a job. He said, you don't have a job? He said, oh, he said, no. He said, well, you got blessed today. He said, he said, I'm happy to be a blessing to you today. He brought the mechanic in to listen to my testimony. He said, well, God bless you, sister. He said, I'm so happy to be able to help you. And these were Gentiles. Okay. These were Gentiles that were helping me. And he said, well, we'll have you out of here in a moment. And I said, I want to show you that what I'm saying is true, that all I have is 1,000. I showed him my account. He said, you don't have to. He said, I believe you. He said, I believe you. And he said, and when he came in, he said, your car is ready. It was ready. It seemed like less than an hour. It seemed like he was done with my car in about 40 minutes. I'm telling you. And as I was telling my testimony, he was looking at me like he was in awe of my testimony. I was telling him how the Father Yah has been pastoring me, how he's been providing for me and taking care of me, using servants, and how I haven't gotten put out, and how I've been in my home and had food and everything. All my needs have been met. And he just was sitting there in awe. And the guy brought my car out. When he stepped out for a moment, I started weeping, and my eyes watered up with tears, and I just began to thank Yah. I felt like I could not believe that this was happening. So I got in my car. He opened the car door for me, and just to hear my car and not hear that loud noise, to know that I can finally turn my heat on and drive in my car in this cold winter, and to be heat, not freezing, having my fingers and my ears be almost coming to frostbite like it's been. It was so refreshing. And as I was getting ready, he opened up the car door for me, and he took my hand, and he shook my hand, and he held my hand, and he looked me in my eyes. He said, God bless you. He said, God bless you. He said, be well. Like, peace be with you. And I walked and I drove off. And when I tell you, all praises and honor and glory go, I am so grateful. When I say I'm so shocked, I should be, because I know who I serve. My bill was $3,000. What's that saying? They say yesterday's prices wasn't today's prices. That's what GM told me. Yesterday's prices, not today's prices. It was 1,000. Now it's 3,000. The Father Yah opened up the door where this man only charged me $1,000. $1,000. I have called numerous places, and it was at least 2,000 and up, 1,700, 1,800, 2,000. They were all telling me this is going to be expensive. When the door was closed, or I thought it was closed, the Father Yah opened it up. Let me show you something else. The name of this place is K&F Auto. K&F Auto Shop. And as I thought about that acronym, K&F, and I heard the Ruach say, kindness and faithfulness. Hallelujah! Kindness and faithfulness. These were the last 2 fruits of the Spirit that Prina and I did. Hallelujah! Prina did the fruit of kindness on last Shabbat, and I just did faithfulness a couple of days ago. Hallelujah. Yah said faithfulness and kindness. He showed his loving kindness to his daughter and his faithfulness, holding true to his word when he sent me to Psalm 6 and told me that I have answered your prayers. My Yah is awesome and faithful and shows loving kindness and mercy from generation to generation. Hallelujah. I am overjoyed with my Abba Yah. I am so happy, so excited. I am in awe of my Yah. Give Abba Yah the praise and the honor and the glory that is due his name. He is faithful to keep his word. He is worthy. He is worthy to be praised. He is worthy. He has shown us time and time again that he is worthy of his trust. He has shown us that he can be trusted. He is not and has never ever let me down. He held true to his word, even though the enemy might have thought, oh yeah, it's 3,000. The Father Yah. I was getting ready to complain in my heart and my mind because I had to go to pick up, the shuttle man had to go pick up someone else. If that shuttle man had not went to pick up that second passenger, I would not have seen this muffler shop because I had to drive up further in the opposite direction to see it. And the Father Yah had this second passenger in this car right when it was time for me to be shuttled and picked up, so that on the drive back I could see this muffler shop. And I told the owner of this muffler shop, and that's when he called the mechanic, and he wanted the mechanic to hear this testimony of how the Father Yah sent me to his shop. I would not have seen it. So sometimes when we're complaining about things, the Father Yah is only protecting us. He's only moving things around so that he can work it out for your good. He was working it out for my good. I was getting ready. I was sighing, thinking, oh goodness, now I gotta wait and go ride with him to pick someone else. So I just want to go get my stuff and go home. The Father Yah was working it all out. He was working it all out for my good. If that second passenger was not on that ride with us, I would have missed an opportunity. If he had taken me back to the dealership first and then got that second passenger, I wouldn't have got this blessing. It was meant for me to ride in the car with his second passenger, to drive up further in the opposite direction of the dealership, so that on the drive back, I could see this dealership. I knew that it was ordained, because as soon as I pulled up in the driveway, the owner came out. He was waving behind the gate and telling me to come in. He is not the only business in this lot. There are several other businesses that were there, but he wanted me to come. He was unctioning me in because it was the Ruach. It was the Father Yah unctioning me in to where he ordained and has ordered my steps to go, so that he could bless me, and I was only going to spend $1,000. That was what the Father Yah appointed for me to spend to get this car fixed, and I didn't spend a penny more. And as you see up on the screen, here is a receipt. My Father Yah is good, and I wanted to share this blessing. I'm sorry if I went on a little bit longer, but I had to share this with you guys. Praise Yah. Shalom.
The Hebrew word for faith is Amunah, and faith is a reflection of Yah, because when we rely and we trust in Yah, we remain steady. Okay, remember when I first started, I read Psalms 112 verse 7. It says, "We shall not be afraid of evil news, for our heart will be fixed," meaning steady, trusting in Yah. Amunah, faith is a reflection of Yah, because through our reliance and trust in Him, this is how we remain steady. Now, this steadiness, however, is not a result of us stabilizing ourselves. We're not stabilizing our own selves and by our own resources and by our own might and power, but it is us steadying ourselves by taking hold of the support, okay, the rock, the stone that is already regarded as stable and reliable. Amunah, faith, is not only faith alone, but it also means to be steadfast. Faith without works is dead. So there has to be some type of action for faith to actually come into fruition. Okay, it's a direct expression of persistence and steadfastness in the rock, which Yahusha and Yah the Father, because they are one and they are a family. A perfect example of this can be found in Exodus chapter 17. When we read Exodus 17 with the staff, I want to talk about Moses. When you read Exodus 17, Moses was getting ready to battle Joshua. He told Joshua to go and fight against Amalek because they were attacking the children of Israel. He said, go and gather up some men, and while you do this, I'm going to go on the top of the hill and I'm going to take this staff. Yah commanded Moses to take the staff. In Exodus 17, Moses raised his hands all day long until the Israelites won that battle with Amalek. And when you read verse 12, it tells us that when Moses got tired, okay, because he was standing all day long raising his hands, because if he put his hands down, Amalek prevailed. But when he kept his hands remain in that position with his hands raised, Israel, the children of Israel, prevailed. And so at that moment, verse 12 tells us that Moses got tired, okay, of holding his hands up. And at that moment, Aaron and Hur put a stone, a rock. They put a stone or a rock up under him. And he sat on that rock. And then Aaron on one side and Hur on the other side raised and held up the hands of Moses. And it says that Moses' hands was steady until the going down of the sun. It says that Moses' hands was steady until the going down of the sun.